Hey everyone, it's Alice. I'm here with another book. Today I wanted to talk about Earthlings by Sayaka Murata. She wrote Convenience Store Woman, which I hadn't read yet, and it looked like a normal-ish book. And then I read this, and I just have to say, what the heck? Reading the synopsis on the back, I did not get any sense of what was about to happen in this book at all. It mostly just mentions Natsuki, who's the main character. She feels like she's been dropped into her family from an alien planet. Her best friend is a plush toy hedgehog named Piyut, and her only human friend is her cousin Yu. And then it goes into her grown life, living a quiet life with her asexual husband, but dark shadows of societal pressure are pursuing her. Fleeing the suburbs for the mountains of her childhood, Natsuki prepares herself for a reunion with Yu. Will he still remember their promise, and will he help her keep it? And this was put into the fantasy and sci-fi section at the bookstore I bought it at. And I'd heard really good things about Sayaka Murata, and I'm not saying I didn't enjoy this book. I very much enjoyed it. It's got like a lot bigger print than I've been reading, so it moved pretty fast. It was strange and unexpected, is what I would say. As they said, she kind of feels like she might be an alien, like she doesn't really belong in the world, and so that's something that I think a lot of readers relate to, so I think that's also why I enjoyed it. But it also left me with a lot of like, whoa, what was this book actually about? Of course, they would never put this in the blurb, or people probably wouldn't read it, especially in the States. Again, as a Japanese author that was translated into English, so how is it perceived in Japan? I don't know. If anyone has any ideas of that or background knowledge, let me know how this one's doing in Japan. It was written in 2018 and then translated in 2020 into English, so we just got this one. There's kind of incest, and that was a little bit like cringe, but not on any different kind of level than reading Murakami. If you've ever read him, he's got all sorts of weird sex scenes that are like, the people who are engaging in it are like maybe wildly different in age, or it seems like a weird power dynamic, but he kind of just makes it this otherworldly thing, so somehow makes it less immediately offensive. So I guess that's kind of just what I went with, was like, okay, it is super weird that happened. So like her cousin Yu, as children do, they like promised to marry each other and like be in a relationship with one another when they're very young. So when she goes to visit in the summer, they hang out a lot, and it kind of gets like more and more serious over time as they visit with each other until like it does kind of turn into a problematic situation. Now I should say, also trigger warning, there is rape, more of one of those situations where like it's like teacher-student relation that's like really inappropriate and kind of triggering. Maybe if someone reading this had an experience or has some relationship with that, I feel like that should have been evident from the back, that like the main character has been sexually abused in her childhood, and so like that could have been related to the incest. And anyway, that's not even the main point of the book. Like, what is the main point? I don't know. Again, it's one of these like Japanese literature books where like, is it really sci-fi? Is the girl dreaming the whole time? I don't know what the heck's going on, but it's really interesting, so I keep reading. So she gets married to an asexual man, which it says on the back. That is accurate. And they kind of get into this whole thing where like the whole world is part of some other group of people. Like it's like they're a cult of people that have these expectations and act like robots. They do what they're expected. They get married and have babies and move on to the next generation. And she and her husband have found each other through this idea that they want to be normal enough from the front that people will leave them alone. When they run back into you later in the story, they find out that he's kind of like them too. And so the three of them are all trying to kind of like escape from normalcy. So were there really aliens? We don't know, but it kind of makes you think about what really is the purpose of human life. Do we all just kind of go through the motions? How many of us are doing things because of societal pressure? And of course, there's so much more to that. I'm not saying that's like a bad way to live your life, but I think a lot of people, at least in past generations, haven't really questioned it. Like, why am I doing this? Or like, do I have to get married? Could I like do some other way of life and that would work fine? And so, yeah, this one also really speaks to queer audiences, I feel like. At least for myself, I was like, I really relate to this. Not feeling like I was a normal human growing up, and then always feeling like, no, I never want to have children, but people always telling me that was weird, or are you sure, or you'll change your mind when you get older. But also, I understand that, like, US expectations of our life are much more open-ended than they used to be, at least where I'm living. Maybe in some, like, cities or states it's different, but I know that in Japan it is not as open-ended. It's maybe moving in that direction, but last time I was there, it was pretty like, when are you getting married? When are you gonna have kids? And then that's kind of everyone's life trajectory. There are so many strange things in this book that I actually forgot a few of them, and now I'm remembering. So there is murder in this one, but it's also kind of like a trauma-induced murder. Like, the main character is not totally feeling like she's in the real world when it's happening, and she doesn't realize what she's doing until it's been done. Or it's kind of like an out-of-body experience almost. And then, towards the end, we have more interactions with what they call the Earthlings. I don't want to spoil anything, but I feel like it's fair to tell people that there is murder and there is cannibalism at the end. We're not sure quite how real it is, because again, it's all kind of dreamlike, but that's there, and there's a lot of really weird stuff at the end. So if you like this kind of surreal Japanese literature, highly recommend. If you do not like that kind of stuff and you want a straightforward story that doesn't mess around, don't read this one. So overall, I would have rated this book like an 8 out of my 10 scale. It was like better than the last one that I posted, but still not top of my scale, like favorite book that I've read. Thanks for watching, everybody, and I hope you check out my next book review.